Airial, if I could marry her brain, it would be amazing.
If you need anything technical.
She is down to earth. She's fun. She's very easy to network with.
Anything systems oriented.
Just anything web dev techie that I don't understand, Airial has swooped in and fixed. And she's my accountability bulldog.
She is a queen.
Anything infrastructure related.
She is helpful, and she helps guide and answer all your questions that you have about growing your business and networking and getting started.
She gives me life. I mean, she just gives me life.
Airial Re'nal is your girl. Welcome to the TrepTECH podcast with your host, Airial Re'nal.
I just want to marry her brain. She's a genius.
Thank you for joining us on the TrepTECH podcast.
You know, I just had to do my own thing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining us on the TrepTECH podcast. I am the Alfred to Airial's Batman. I am the butler to, Her Majesty. Welcome to With a Little More Pizzazz this week, Airial Re'nal. What's up?
Hey, Scott, thanks. And, I like to make things light because
you like to derail
this is already boring enough as it is. So I want to make sure we're having fun while doing it.
You just like to derail me. You like to put a penny on the tracks and watch me just derail. That's what you like to do. It's fun for you.
But do you know how many people I send your way?
I know.
Much I boost you up and talk good about you?
This is what friends
I just don't talk
do.
good about you to your face. That's all.
No, my ego needs checking every now and then. This is what friends do. But yeah, you've inspired me. You have inspired me this week.
Aww.
Because you mentioned on one of the previous episodes, and while my team was producing it, because they're lovely, and I know I talked a bit of crap about them last week and their big tech failure, but I do love you guys to death, I promise. An episode hit my desk and it was about your intensives. You talked about like why you loved them so much. And that kind of inspired me to talk about an issue that I see a lot of young entrepreneurs have, and I want your take on it. And that is they get into business and they do all of this content creating and they do all of this systems building and they're tweaking websites and they're doing this and that, but they're not like doing what's important, and that's finding the fastest path to your cash. And so I was wondering if you'd want to talk about that this week, because I know it's sales oriented and sometimes you like to avoid that stuff, but I think it's a good process because your path to cash has been kind of a roller coaster, and I know mine's been a little weird too.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you called me out, but I am glad you mentioned how I don't like to sell. So initially I had to find out what way felt right for me, authentic for me. With coaching, I started with the regular model of 1 hour every week, for coaching, and then getting clients by doing discovery calls and all that stuff. And it just didn't work for me. So I had to do some, soul speaking, deep thinking, and all that good stuff, and journaling, which we'll talk about how journaling has really changed my life in another episode, though. And I figured, I was like, you know what? Sometimes I just want to sit down with the person and just knock something out. And so I spoke with you because we're always talking about running, ideas across each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about intensives. And I was like, okay, 4 hours sounds like a long time, but it sounds neat. And this is the price I'm going to do it as. And let's go for it. So the first person I talked to, which is Rolanda, I want to give her a shout out to her. I absolutely love her. She's one of my soulmate clients. I offered her my coaching package, like a 6-month coaching package. And then I also mentioned to her the intensive. And later on, she told me like how much she loved it. When that offer came about, she was like, yes, this is it. And so to be honest, later into our coaching relationship, I told her, I said, I just pulled that out my butt because me and my biz bestie had talked about it and it sounded good. So I offered it to you. And when you said yes, I was like, oh crap, she said yes. Now I got to figure
Now
out
I got to build an intensive.
how to do this thing. But once we got on the phone, and she told me, she's like, girl, I would have never known. She said, you did that thing. I was like, do you realize how scared I was? And I was like, oh shit, now what? But then when I got on the phone with her, it was like, okay, we have 4 hours. However, depending on the flow of the call, we can stop the call and finish it later on. And we can also take breaks between like homework or deep dives or whatever. And now it's one of my favorite things to offer is a 4-hour intensive.
I could see why though, because like I don't want to bash other models like online courses or group programs or anything like that. Like I really value one-on-one coaching. I think it's amazing, like done by myself. I do it and I implement it, but I like having the ability to ask questions and clear things up if I want to. And so that's why the personal model I love. Group coaching, I don't like other people, right? So when I get into a group of like 12 people on a group coaching call, I don't talk. I just sit there and listen to everybody else and they kind of get to my questions, but not really because I'm usually like either a little farther ahead or a little farther behind everyone else. So like that's the other thing is there's different skill levels. And so when we started talking about intensives and what that would look like, I was like, so wait a minute. What you're telling me is you're going to give someone 4 hours in an afternoon to access you and just like knock out a battle plan that they have to then go implement and like good to go. You're going to tell them what they need and everything.
And then I couple it with the courses. So like, say for instance, I have the business breakthrough, that whole boot camp thing, which covers like 8 steps to having a successful business. And like you said, some people are further along in that process. But a person who wants to do an intensive, so I have like sections: get clear, get clients, get visible, get paid, and then get a team or get help. And based on where the person who I have the discovery call with or the chit chat with is what I like to call it, I could say, okay, it sounds like you need to work on your visibility. So we'll take the 4-hour intensive and that's what we'll focus on is your visibility. So speaking platforms, how to be guest on podcasts, how to share your message, how to hook up your social media, just that kind of thing based on what it is that they're struggling with at that moment. And then we knock it out. And then if they need help with me actually doing the tech part of it and connecting it all, we get that done. So it's like, instead of drawing it out, boom, in one day you get it done. So it's kind of like a implementation call.
That's crazy. So like, not only does it allow you to help them map things out and plan it, but is it an upsell to the tech? Like if it's going to be something crazy, you could be like, yeah, I can handle that, but it's going to take a few days and this is what it'll cost. Like, is that literally how that runs in? Because that's an amazing model.
Yeah, it is. Some things I can do like right there, or we can do like a screen share.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is how you do it. So now your homework is to take it and put it together. Contact me if you get stuck somewhere. Because I'm not so stuck on that 4 hours. I'm like, I'm still here to help you to, piece things together. But if it's something extensive, then yes, I'll tell them, okay, this is what I can offer you from this point. Because that's when I move into being a project manager for like the whole full-blown web development or the virtual assistant team and that's when I step into that role. And then we'll discuss how that would look. Yeah.
That's awesome. So like you can sit down and in 4 hours, you can really get a lot of value to a person. And then that's like a higher ticket thing for you, right? That's like, I believe Jess Lorimer from Smart Leader Cell calls it an injectable. It's something you could literally do right now with zero prep. And you could get out there and you could sell it and make a decent chunk of change right away. And then just worry about fulfilling it on a book day later.
Yeah. And I love doing it. It's something that's fun. It's something that my clients love because like you said, it causes us to sit down and focus on that and get it done instead of procrastinating. You get it done and you have somebody there to help you get it done.
Well, I mean, and drip content, like, don't get me wrong, it works for some people who need to pace themselves. But I'm the kind of person who listens to a podcast episode and goes and does the thing I just heard. Hint, hint. We're 1% of people, by the way. So if you're listening and you don't do this, then don't worry. There's a lot of people who won't. Those are the people who hire people like us. But if you're one of the people who does go and implement, like you can do a lot just by actioning something. But what I find is that with all of the paid courses I've ever taken, I get to module 3 or module 4, and it's taking me so long to get the damn thing done that I end up just going, screw it, and hiring someone to do it for me anyway, because this is just taking too long. I don't want a thing in 4 weeks, 6 months. I want it like in 4 hours. So that's why
Yeah.
intensive is kind of attractive to me, is because like that literally means that like by this time tomorrow, I won't have to worry about it anymore.
Shoot, by this time in a few hours.
Yeah, before
You
I
won't
go
have-
to bed, I won't have to worry about it anymore. Like that's
Right.
really cool for the person who values action and doesn't want to sit there over the span of 12 weeks to learn something.
And I've gone through that too with courses, and I'm not knocking the course model. It depends on your learning style and how you implement stuff and your discipline. It's a lot. So that's why I offer different things, but that quick way to cash was my intensives, and it's so much fun. I don't have to prep for it. I don't have to create content. It's just, okay, I have this intensive. We sit down for 4 hours, and if we need to end it before 4 hours, you still get your time later on. It could be like a follow-up call or whatever. We have breaks. I give you assignments. We work together on this thing. And I mean, it's fun. It's fun for me, and I've gotten good feedback from my clients as well.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah. So how do you come up with quick cash?
Okay, so it's a little different for me because I don't really have an injectables business. Like I don't have that big injectable. But when I first started, it was launch coaching. So I was trying to figure out how to make money because I was just done with, honestly, I was just done with the feast famine and everything. And I was like, okay, well, I need to start making big money now because I've got big goals. So I decided to do, we'll launch your podcast in 30 days. So I was like,
Mm,
yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. Let's launch the podcast in 30 days. And I said, I'm going to make it $1,000. $1,000. You're going to have a podcast launched. You'll never have to worry about it again after a month. 4 calls, and I offered payment plans. I cut it in thirds if need be. So that's what I did for the first little while of my business, and people bought. And like some people say, don't offer payment plans. Personally, I think if it gets the person through the door, it's also good for your cash flow. Right. So like you get a little bit now and then a little bit again and then a little bit again. And you know, you can count on a little bit in the future. So like as long as you can keep track of it and you're not constantly chasing people, I say offer payment plans. Like, why not? But what I found was that like as I was doing that, yes, I was getting high ticket sales right away. And so my money was coming in, it was good. But I often found myself kind of sitting there going, oh, but like stressing about the next one.
mm,
Yeah, and so, like, I realized the high ticket sell right now model wasn't for me. I was gonna need something that would give me security long term, and that's when the production came, because I noticed that, like, a lot of the people, I would launch them, they would go out into the world, and then within, like, 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month or 2, they'd stop, and it's
right.
because they either got sick of the editing, or they couldn't find someone to do it for them, or the workload just became too much, or they didn't see an ROI on it fast enough. And so I realized there was an actual chance for me to continue doing business with these people. And that
Mhm.
was producing the show for them. And so that's when I kind of offered the next part and said, like, okay, I'll coach you through it, but then would you like us to produce it ongoing? And
Right.
that's when the full production team was born.
And you know, if you want to figure out what to sell, what to offer, listen to your clients, listen to your tribe, listen to your audience, listen to people's frustrations, and also listen to your heart and what pisses you off and fill that gap. And that's your answer right there. And you'll sell like crazy and have fun doing it.
Yeah, that's it. And like you said, it's all about figuring out the model that works for you, because that coaching model you started with wasn't for you. And the fast path to the cash model, even though like it was great and it got me paid and all of a sudden I was running a business and it was exciting, that scratched the I need to make money right now itch, but that didn't scratch the how am I going to make money ongoing in a way that I'm happy and comfortable doing it itch. So, make money right now doing the thing that you can do with very little prep time, make it high ticket, sell it for big dollars instead of trying to get in at like the book or the membership level. Find out what you can offer for a decent chunk of change and offer it now, and then figure out the model you want to roll with.
Yep,
I
that's
think,
it.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that was actually perfect. I'm glad we covered that. So people got to see, the other side, the behind the scenes kind, or listen to the behind the scenes of how I came up with that offer and how I actually offer it and how unprepared I was. But hey, it's sold. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You just got to take a chance. You hear somebody needs something and you offer it and you take a chance and you figure it out as you go.
Absolutely. And, if someone else already offers that thing for you, or if someone else knows how to do it and they've got a program or service available, and it's going to take a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears off of your plate for a little bit of money, just buy the damn thing. Sit down for the intensive. Get that person to develop your website for you. Get that person to handle your social media for a fee. Like, the time you save avoiding the things you don't want to do will allow you to focus on how to make money. So I think
exactly
that's the huge thing. And, if you want to sit down for an intensive with Airial, feel free to check out a link in the show notes and connect with her and figure out, how she does the thing if you're looking to add intensives to your model, or if you need an intensive yourself because you're hung up on something, connect with Airial, sit down. She's worth it. She's worth it. So with that, we will catch you on the next episode. Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to the TrepTECH podcast. But if you like what you heard, go on to Apple Podcast and bring her a 5-star review. And also, if you want to check out her service while she transforms mindsets, navigating entrepreneurship, leveraging technology, building relationships while bridging the gap in your business, check out TrepTECHacademy.com. That's TrepTECHacademy.com.